Hi guys, welcome back to Factorio. It is now episode 35. My name is Poober, and we are picking up exactly where we left off in the previous episode, working towards the kovarex enrichment process. So to catch you guys up, for those of you that missed the previous episode, we now have uranium ore getting mined in this little patch here, and then we do have a smaller patch right down here that isn't quite tapped in terms of the centrifuges yet. So it's not really mining, it's kind of idle at the moment. But for now, we have this little mining factory that is now getting the uranium ore products into the red belt that converges here, and then is fed into these 4 centrifuges that I have here. These centrifuges are only doing the very basic uranium ore processing at the moment, where it takes the uranium ore, puts it into the centrifuge, and then it has a less than 1% chance of producing the bright green stuff, which is what you see here. We now have 2 of these bright green orbs on our belts, and that is the uranium-235. The dark green is the uranium-238, which has the greater probability of getting produced in these centrifuges. So the goal of today's episode will be to increase our chances of getting the uranium-235. To do that, we're going to be adding several more centrifuges to our line here, as well as starting the kovarex enrichment process, which should essentially convert the dark green or the uranium-238 back into centrifuges to possibly be made back into uranium-235. So hopefully that made sense. I'm sure a lot of other people could explain that a little bit better, and again, as a caveat, I am not the expert on uranium ore processing by any means, so take my words of advice with a little grain of salt, but let's get started. So as much as I'm a noob when it comes to the uranium processing, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to have to differentiate the uranium-235 from the uranium-238. So to do that, I'm going to be using some filter inserters with the centrifuges here, so that we're going to have 2 filter inserters per centrifuge, so that only one filter inserter can do the 235 and the other filter inserter will only grab the 238. And then we'll do a couple belt tricks to be able to move the products onto either half of the belt lines. So we'll go ahead and make a couple filter inserters for now. And unfortunately, they don't have any long-handed filter inserters, which would be really nice. So we're going to have to do this instead. We'll just do, like I mentioned, 2 per centrifuge. And then we'll go ahead and put our belt lines in. And I better suck up the products before it gets too much on the belts here, but we're going to go ahead and put in the recipes for what it can filter. We'll do this one with the 235, I think, and the other one the 238. And then we'll go ahead and copy these recipes to the other inserters. There we go. And we know this will be the common line right here. So what that means is we'll have to do an underground belt from the uranium-238 side, just like so. I technically wouldn't have to do the underground belt there, but we're going to do it for symmetry, or at least congruity. And then we're going to loop it kind of back on itself, so that way only this bottom side will actually get the products of the 238, and we'll leave the top half for the uranium-235, and then that way we can kind of pick and choose what products get where, and it will be evenly distributed. So now we just kind of have to wait for this to work. I do have to finish putting in the recipes though, so we'll do that for the 238 here. There we go. So now all 4 of these centrifuges should be working. They're going to be producing the 238 onto the belt the majority of the time, and then the very small portion of the time we'll be getting the uranium-235, which is ultimately what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple more centrifuges that we have hopefully stockpiled, add more to the line, and then I'll be right back. And we're back, guys. So unfortunately, I only have 2 more centrifuges that we can put down. So we'll go ahead and put them right here, I guess, and we'll see if we can do anything with the actual kovarex enrichment process itself. So that means I have to put in this recipe here, and it takes uranium-235 and 238, but it also produces uranium-235 and 238. So I'm a little confused about the benefit of the processing. So if any of you guys can explain that, go ahead and leave a comment down below. But I'm guessing that it is important, so we'll go ahead and do that anyway. We're going to just basically continue the line down here. And then, so it takes both. So we're going to go ahead and we'll use some, actually maybe we can be a little bit smarter about it and do like a splitter there so that we have it coming from both sides. We don't have to use a long-handed inserter because the stack inserter should be faster, I think. Again, don't quote me on that. So we'll go ahead and power that guy up. And then in terms of our output, we'll go ahead and output like this for now. I think that should work. Again, we still have to worry about the lines of the belt. So we're gonna have to do this trick again because it will produce separately the uranium-235 as well as the 238. So let's build a couple more filter inserters. We'll do the same trick we did. In fact, we'll do it with the same configuration that we have over here. There we go, just like that. And again, we'll just copy these recipes over. Whoop, I misclicked right there. Okay, there we go. And again, we're going to do our underground belt trick for the uranium-238. There we go. And then in terms of our input, we'll have to get rid of these power poles, it looks like. And where did my splitters go? Right there. And we technically could do a long-handed inserter, but yeah, I guess let's go ahead and do that. I changed my mind. So let's try the long-handed for now. And we'll do our power poles right there. So the long-handed inserter will grab both the 235 as well as the 238 and put it into the centrifuge there. And then it should output these onto the belt the same way. So I'm going to copy over that recipe. Oh man, I'm running pretty low on power, you guys. Look at what I have here. This is the coal that I have coming in basically to power my entire factory. So you can see that I really desperately need a better fuel source, which is why I'm working on this. So what else do we need? I guess the reason why it's not working is because I do not have 235 coming in. That's why. I don't have a good way to solve that problem for right now, unfortunately. All I think I have to do is just wait for this to start producing. I can put what little I have in my inventory in here. Okay. Well, I'm going to just kind of sit on this for a little while, see if it starts to technically work. But what we can do with this once it does work, we'll go ahead and loop this back in on itself, I think. There we go. And that way, we can kind of recycle the 238 that isn't used and so on. But for now, while we wait for some 235 to build up, let's go ahead and see if we have some other uses for this 238. I do believe that there is an ammo you can make from it. Yep, right there. Ooh, and it is expensive, and I don't think I have the power right now to support research of this, but that will be cool once we do have that. But what I can do is start to kind of prepare for that, even though I don't have the power to actually start producing or researching this for that matter. But it looks like we'll have to have piercing rounds brought to an assembly machine as well as this stuff. So what I could do is grab a couple assemblers. Let's go ahead and use these yellow ones that we have here. We'll do something like this. And this is kind of just for test purposes, you guys. In the future, I will probably move everything. So we'll put eventually our ammo production over with the rest of our armory, which is down to the bottom left section over here. And then the other thing I was thinking that might be cool would be to put the kovarex enrichment or the processing of the uranium ore in this upper section over here. I was originally not sure what to do with this open area. If you guys recall from a couple episodes ago when I put in our upgraded smelter section. But what we could do is eventually move our train drop-off of the stone that we have here, and then this will be coal. So since we don't have any coal coming in yet, that will be easy to move. But eventually move these things and then put the kovarex enrichment section or the production or refinement of the uranium ore into this upper section. And then we can move our train depots for the stone and coal and stuff up here in this open space. So I'm thinking that for now, but that will be a little ways off. Let's go ahead and we can continue to preemptively set up our temporary ammo section just to see if we can get it working. Oh, and I suppose I probably can't even put the recipe in, can I? Nope. Okay, that doesn't matter. We will go ahead and just prepare in advance. We'll do our inserters that will grab the dark green or the uranium-238. And then what we can do is have, let's see, this input will be the ammo. And then we'll have it output onto the line just like that. And that will be where our ammo comes in. So let's go ahead and we'll actually do, since I don't want to haul our ammo all the way from the very bottom up here, I'm going to do a requester chest and make it really easy on myself now just for testing purposes. So we will request, what, maybe 500 of the piercing ammo? And then we will have a passive provider right there. Or technically, since it's not in the network, we can do a regular box. Again, this is just for testing right now. And we will do, let me just limit it to like 5 stacks like that right there. And that way it will pick up the product and put it into this box here once we have it researched. So I think off camera I'll go ahead and wait around a little bit and see if we can get this running, and then we'll be right back. And we are back. So it's been about a half hour since the previous cut and now, and we have no uranium-235 to speak of. So during that time I also ended up actually biting the bullet and ended up researching that uranium ammo. So we now do have that, and we can now put it in the recipes in these assembly machines that we have ready to go. So we'll go ahead and do that now, and then hopefully can start using up the uranium-238, and then we can get more production and then a higher chance of getting the 235 as a resulting product. So go ahead and we're going to put that recipe in now. This is the uranium rounds. Never used these before, so that'll be really interesting. We also have the potential to make uranium cannon shells, which would be pretty cool. I think we'll do that as well. Once we continue the line, we'll do another couple assembly machines with the cannon shells brought over so that we can have those robotically supplied just like we do with this piercing ammo right now. But we'll let these just build up for now instead of worrying about the cannon shells. We'll do that in probably another couple episodes or so. And we'll just let this kind of build up over time. I think we'll cap this off at 1,000 or so, which is right around my ideal ammo to have on hand at any given time. And then that way it will start to use up the uranium-235 here. And with that said, we now have these two working again, which is great. So that means we can maybe begin to have production of the uranium-235. So I think I'm going to have to just wait another little bit, and then I'll bring you guys back in once we have the uranium-235 produced. And we're back yet again, you guys, and as you might have been able to tell, we have now tripled our centrifuges that we have in this factory line. We now have 12, whereas at the beginning of the episode we started with 4. But that's not really the issue, it looks like. It turns out we don't have enough uranium ore coming in, and that is a problem related to our miner output. So even though this patch we started with in the previous episode is fully compacted with these miners, we don't have enough of the uranium ore being produced, and it's not for a lack of sulfuric acid. I mean, if you look at the pipes here, we have plenty. I've even added the belt line coming up from the smaller uranium ore patch from here. So that kind of leaves us with the other option of tapping into this uranium patch, this really small one over here. But I think that one might be a little bit more trouble than it's worth, because we'd have to basically pack it all the way from over here up to where I'm at over here. So I don't really want to do that at this point. Instead, I think what we'll do is probably go AFK for a couple of hours, so I'm going to end up calling this episode short. So hopefully by the next time you guys join me, we'll have plenty of uranium-235 to really get cracking on the kovarex processing, and hopefully getting a little bit closer to getting nuclear power. So thanks again for joining me, guys, and hope to see you for the next one.